This was the thing that I didn't say in the pod, but this was when you said it was the second date and I was talking about Bitcoin and she was still listening. I knew she was the one for me. And that I thought was fantastic. Just talking about the date.
How he orange pilled me, right? Yeah, because I was already pretty close, and I think he could sense that. But yeah, it definitely took. I was at a turning point of, do I go a bit wokey cokey in this crazy world, because when everyone's going, let our kids choose what gender they want to be, and if you don't do that, you're a racist bigot. It's like you have to pick a side, and so like really helped open my eyes to like a hell of a lot. But of course, you don't just meet someone like if you're the opposite of him and just jump on board. You have to be aligned, because he's very strong in his views, and yes, you have to be aligned to a certain point, I guess, to jump on board.
I've got the title of the podcast as well.
What's that?
Orange Pillars, the New Roofie. Boom, we are back, and this is a special podcast, pod 110, right? 110?
110 it is.
110 it is. Okay, so I am here with Mr. All-In, aka the $1 Trillion Man, with the Bitcoin Bride, aka Mrs. All-In.
Hello.
Myself, Sir Neverlook, aka the Excellence of Execution, and that's it. No Mrs. No Show, aka Mrs. No Show, and no Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ.
But here we are.
Switch up.
2 down, but I think the +1 more than makes up for it.
Absolutely.
I'll replace both of them now permanently. Bye.
I think the viewers would probably much prefer you than Dr. Evil 10%.
Oh, yeah. Well, I know I definitely do.
Yeah.
But I think we should tell everyone, shouldn't we? It's a bit of a different episode this week. Obviously, like last week's show went crazy, by the way. So for everyone that's suddenly probably listening now, it's like, this is nothing like last week's. So you're probably disappointed. But it's kind of Bitcoin related.
You'll be disappointed. But you won't.
It's going to be shorter, hopefully. We don't rabble on for too long. But it's just purely going to be about the fact that we got married a couple of days ago. And we had quite a Bitcoin theme. So we're not just here to share boring wedding stories, which nobody cares about. But I've shared some of it on Twitter today. And it just kind of blew up. And I had a lot of Bitcoiners coming in going, this is awesome. We love how you've themed your wedding. And we want to hear more about it. What else did you do? So we just figured, you know what, let's have one little podcast where if there's Bitcoiners out there, and we know we're not getting girlfriends to 100K, but look,
you can get
we're getting old now. Well, I am anyway. So we're going to have to start making some moves. And I had to jump ahead before 100K, get a girlfriend, and now get a wife. So, yeah, we're just going to just run through the day, really, and just go, what Bitcoin elements did we add in? And then we'll also ask the wife how disruptive or how much it changed her perfect day, and see how Bitcoin impacted it. And then also get your view on what did you think as a Bitcoin maxi sat in the crowd.
Yeah.
What did you think of the Bitcoin elements as well? Just sitting at the back, it's very hard. Like, obviously, we obsessed over every detail, and you go, and sometimes you can obsess around a load of stuff, and then it kind of falls flat in certain areas or whatever, and then the little thing you did have a big impact or whatever. So it'd be interesting to get your view on the various things as we go through them.
Definitely, because there was a certain part during the ceremony where I was just like, oh yeah, this is why I know you're getting married. So that was interesting for me as well. So yeah, let's crack on, and I'm sure we'll come to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that quite quick. Yeah. So the first 2 things, nice and simple. Some Bitcoin stocks. So they were actually gifted to me the night before. That wasn't actually part of the plan, but the Bitcoin bride's sister. I had to remember your name then, not your real name. So her sister gifted me those socks. Then, of course, some Bitcoin cufflinks. So myself and all the groomsmen had some cufflinks for the day. So I think they just fitted in relatively seamlessly, really. I doubt many people noticed. Did you notice that I had Bitcoin cufflinks on?
Of course, straight away. So I noticed the orange. I noticed the orange socks. Absolutely.
Oh, did you even see the
Love
socks?
that. Love that. I think
Yeah.
it's a little flash of the orange.
So it kind of it made me think, I should have worn my orange socks as well.
You got some Bitcoin socks as well, have you?
They're not Bitcoin socks, just orange socks. Yeah, but I didn't know, stupidly. And this is, well, yeah, I guess it's two things, and I'm sure it'll probably the list will increase as we go through the pod. But I really, really didn't know that you were going to be able to get away with that Bitcoin themed wedding, because this is the camp that I'm in, and I'm sure that Dr. Evil 10% is in. You know, Mr. All In has found, to all of the listeners and viewers, a true bride that has embraced the Bitcoin like theme. Not even just a theme; it's a really way of life. Yeah. It is the Bitcoin standard, and so to be allowed to take it as far as down to the vows, the handwritten that there
was a shaky moment with the vows where Gareth went, you know, I want to incorporate this into the vows, and I was like, oh, you're going too far, but it lasted for like a second, because as soon as we'd actually written them, and they just made perfect sense, and so yeah, and it snowballed from there, and then everything was Bitcoin.
No, it was perfect, and it didn't seem corny or out of place, and naturally it got a very big laugh as well. Do you remember the line? It was,
oh yeah, I absolutely
it was to live on a Bitcoin standard, and I was just like, oh, he's done it, you know. He's got her to the altar to live on a Bitcoin standard.
Yeah, so basically it already really changed, right? So Vic's ones were, you know, she hand wrote these herself as well. Because obviously, what I didn't actually realize is the vows. He said, like, we can write our own vows, and I go, okay, great. But then what I didn't actually realize is a load of standard legal ones that have to come first. I honestly thought we were rewriting those, but so when he was repeating all these words, it kind of threw me up. But anyway, we went through all those, and then you just get to do your own at the end. And the rules are very strict on that. They can't be too jovial. It can't be religious, and you can't really go off topic, really.
Yeah.
But all I really did, right, is there's a line in Vix, and a lot of people say this anyway, in sickness and in health. I just changed that to throughout bull and bear markets.
Wasn't that richer or poorer? Bull and bear market.
Oh, actually, yeah, normally.
It was. And it's the perfect swap out, because it means the exact same thing, doesn't it?
You said sickness and health, and richer or poorer. You took out richer or poorer because it's a bit like, you know, bringing money into it a bit.
Yeah.
But then just those two kind of combine into, for what's it like for a Bitcoiner? It's a bull and bear market. The problem is the registrar read that out. You lot all burst out laughing behind me. I'm like, don't go too far. This is still meant to be romantic. Like, and I look at Vic's face. She's like,
no, I wasn't.
Being like, you said you wouldn't turn the vows into a joke. But then, but it's throughout bull and bear markets, and to live on a Bitcoin standard. And then everything else is the same.
Everything else, is pretty much the same.
It's, and they're just normal vows. But so that was the vows. And did you see just before the vows, what young MBA, my brother, did?
No,
he jumped up. He did the Bitcoin sign guy thing. Do you know the guy with the sign leans over and says "Buy Bitcoin" behind Janet Lee Ellen's.
I missed that. I was in the moment. I was in the zone. I missed it.
It was so quick. He literally jumped in, got the shot, and he was gone.
It was right at the beginning.
It was an iconic shot that you really wanted it, didn't you?
Yeah, and I was scared the registrar was going to say no, so we just didn't tell him. And then once you'd arrived, I just went, by the way, we're just taking a quick photo. We'll start in 1 minute. And you went, what? And you kind of stepped back. My brother jumps up, says buy Bitcoin from behind your head. And the photographer's like snaps away. I look at him, he's like, got it. I'm like, okay. and he runs back and sits down, and
no one even saw
I just
it.
nod to the registrar, you can start now.
I didn't even see that.
So that's going to be like, I'm really excited for that picture, just because it's, you literally got the buy Bitcoin sign guy kind of photo bombing our wedding literally at the vows, the most important iconic part, and it's like buy Bitcoin in the side.
I feel like when you get the video, that video will go viral.
Oh.
Even more, like if you're talking about the fact that you've put it on X, previously known as Twitter, and everybody seemed to have like really gravitated towards it. Imagine when they see the visuals.
Yeah, I know. They just had a taste there.
Yeah.
What I've shared at the moment is a pile of Bitcoin standard books, which we'll get onto, because Saifedean now is my buddy. Been DMing him. We're freaking like this now.
Beautiful. Anyway,
so the next part of the ceremony obviously was the rings. So the rings are quite subtle, linked to Bitcoin, really. So I've got a gold ring. It's as solid gold as it possibly can be, is pure gold. The guy we brought it off he's so close to being a Bitcoiner, but isn't. But he just loves scarcity and the craft of building rings.
Yeah.
And he gets all the gold from old computers. So his actual day job is refurbishing computers. He takes out the parts. He literally dissolves them all down. You throw computers into acid, basically. And the only thing that's left at the end is the gold. And you sieve that off.
It's like brown dust at this point that he gets from them. Sorry, you go.
No, go on.
Fascinating. Yeah, and it was just sourced from these computers, and we've listened
to him loads. You go.
Oh my god. Hi guys.
This is my ring then.
So we looked on, on the high street, which is where my engagement ring was from, and like we just couldn't find anything anywhere. You wanted solid gold, didn't you? Because ultimately, what is gold? You can melt it down in times of need, and you've got it there, and it's always, and if it's mixed with loads of other various alloys and things like that, it's effectively worthless. It's not gold anymore, is it? So we couldn't find anything, so in the end we decided that you were going to get probably like titanium or something like that. We just kind of gone off the idea of gold, and then we went to a wedding fair, and the ring that Gareth had described to me, the exact ring that we couldn't find because we didn't think it existed, was sat on a table with these two kind of eccentric people, really. I'd go as far as to call them quite eccentric, a couple. And the process was amazing. They sent us pictures from when it was brown dust, to melting it down, casting the ring, and then you can tell Darnell about I just don't know. You've doxed me. It's all like a mess. Gonna have to cut this bit out now. Tell him about obviously the numbers and yeah.
Well, that means is it unique and scarce and maybe one of one?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's number 21 of 999. This guy is never going to make more than 1,000. And as when I was buying it, it's so funny, right? I was buying this thing. His wife was clearly the sales and marketing. He was the guy that spends all the time melting this stuff down and then hammering this gold into a ring shape and selling it. The closer and closer I got to going, I'm having this, he started to almost withdraw, going, I actually don't want to sell it. Because he loves these rings so much that even though he's at a wedding fair to sell the rings, he actually doesn't want to sell them, and was already going, look, if you buy one, if you ever don't like it, I'll buy it back.
He didn't even say that. He said, look, if you buy the ring, but if anything happens with you guys, if anything, and I'm like, you're trying to sell us a ring, and you're talking about in the event we get a divorce, dare I say it, it's probably not the best sales technique. His wife was bright red in the face, just looking at him going, shut up. But yeah, we just liked them straight away, didn't we? Just they were so passionate.
Yeah.
And it's
so I went, I'm totally in. I'm getting this ring, but I have to have number 21 of your 999. And he piped up and just went, oh, I think someone's reserved 21 already. His wife just went, no, they haven't. It's gone. This guy wants it. You can have it.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Provide I have 21. Da-da-da. So I got it. I have number 21 on my ring.
Show them.
And you can't really see it. And then,
Cute.
but
No,
then
not the 21, just the ring.
no, the ring. Well, it's just
Yeah.
the gold ring.
It's just a nice gold ring.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, your ring. It's
Yeah.
got you've also got your engagement ring, but then the wedding ring has 21 diamonds on it. Are you going to show?
Brilliant.
There it is.
They're very small.
Oh yes.
Yeah, they're only little tiny ones. And it wasn't like we got it kind of specially made like that or anything. I really like the ring. And when I was reading the description, it said that there was 21 diamonds in there. And I was like, yeah, that's the ring. So kind of just happened like that. Super cute.
Yeah.
We are just basically laying out the foundations of what a Bitcoin wedding should look like.
Yeah.
So it's just a little idea.
Setting
The blueprint. Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's because even the gold thing, right? You know, it's I just went, if I'm going to spend a decent amount on it, I want it to be solid gold. So if in the future, let's just say there is a freaking massive societal collapse, I don't own any gold. Obviously, I've got a load of Bitcoin, but maybe I will need a bit of gold to trade or something.
Yeah.
And maybe, you know, melting this ring down and using it to survive and buy food if we're starving, you know, that it could be handy, right? I've got a decent amount of gold with me now. And obviously, I'd never want to melt it down. That would be, but you're doing it proper last resort, right? It's you know, the internet's down, the electricity's down, and you want a bit of that cow that the farmer's got down the road. And we're on a gold standard for a period of time whilst the internet's down, electricity's down. So I have some gold now.
Nice.
But then I think the big thing we really pushed the boat out on a little bit for our guests were the gifts, or the favors. So we ummed and ahed over these for ages, and then it ended up being late at night because we kind of ruled it out, going, it's probably a little bit pricey. Who knows how it's going to go down? But it was late at night one day, and I just told you, didn't I? I've just ordered
ordered them, yeah.
I've ordered
He did the 3 a.m. order thing where he waits for me to go to sleep and then orders massive, expensive things and then tells me in the morning.
I have to do it like when I'm at when I'm at my weakest, because the Bitcoiner in me goes, well, I ain't spending those sats, and then but I go, I just want to though. Like, this is gonna help so many people. These are the people that are closest to us. It's we're gonna end up spending, say, £5 to £10 a head on some random gift that means nothing, or we could spend £20 a head and we're delighted, and hopefully it really makes an impact. So so we brought everyone that came a Bitcoin standard book and some orange Tic Tacs, aka orange pills.
Which, by the way, are white Tic Tacs that come in an orange box. If any future Bitcoin wedding people are going to do the orange pill thing, they are white. So
yeah, they are orange flavored.
Yeah, they are.
They were orange flavored, definitely. So I came to the wedding girly because, despite my timing when it comes to pods based on family issues, I actually really like to be on time. And I walked in and I didn't realize, of course, that they were personalized. And I didn't realize that everybody or every couple actually had their own book. So I just saw them and I just was like, oh, that's cool. If anybody leaves their copy, I'll have it as a second copy. So I genuinely didn't think that it was for everyone. I just saw them as decoration, and yeah, if you want one, you can have one, but there might not be one for everyone. So it was fantastic. Great idea. And the personalization was spot on, and yeah, it's just really nice.
Yeah,
so
I think
thank you.
No worries, man. It's I think we've had some good feedback. You know, it's Dr. Evil 10%. We converted his wife finally. She finally conceded and gone, I will read this book.
Yeah.
So that's and he's been trying for years to get her just to engage with Bitcoin, right? She just outright refuses to do it. And I think it's just the more I've been thinking about it, the better it is. I think we'll get some people early. Some people go home and just read it. But I think the majority of people will probably just shove it on their bookshelf and go, I'll read that one day. But then we know what's going to happen, right? That everybody, well, maybe they read it before it's too late, but they'll read it at some point in the future, because we know inflation is going to continue. We know fiat's going to continue to go down. We know Bitcoin's going to continue to get stronger. So at some point, right, when they start going, remember that wedding we went to and that guy was talking about this better form of money? and instead of just Googling it and accidentally going down the shitcoin crypto route, which so many people do, because they think Bitcoin, don't they? But then just about every website that had Bitcoin on it tries to force you down shitcoins, and then they end up getting lost. And then I think they end up just coming away going, well, that's a load of nonsense, because they'll lump Bitcoin in with that. And hopefully these people, instead of just Googling it, maybe they'll have that little memory and go, I've got the book, and apparently that book is the book to read. So maybe before I go and do anything, I'll read that book. And so that could be years or maybe even decades down the road where someone picks that book up. And at least we know now our closest friends and family all have it on their bookshelf. And it's a personalized copy as well. So what I was also really scared about was spending all this, putting all the extra effort in. And I was terrified when the even do started. Everyone moves off their tables, don't they? And then your place table isn't yours now. It's just everyone's just moving around, right? Drinks are getting put down, they're getting spilt. And normally that's fine, but I was just terrified of having a load of Bitcoin standards just kind of left. I was delighted that once we kind of came back for the main evening do, virtually all the books had gone. Everyone had taken them to their accommodation, put them down, or people put them in their bags safe. They'd looked after them. Already people are acting better than I thought they would. Which I thought they might just go, oh, what the hell is this book thing? And just like throw it down on the table, And almost, I was also terrified of end up taking a load of copies back that were also all personalized for other people. But no one forgot it. No one, from what I could see, damaged it. They all really looked after them, which that's a good starting sign that at least there was an element of respect around the gift.
They went down better than what I thought they would, and I thought they'd go down well. But a few of my friends think they're a bit too cool for school, but they were like, I'm definitely gonna read this. Like, I think just the whole day in general sparked a lot of intrigue for a lot of people, and who were going, what is this about? So hopefully if even just one person reads and it makes a difference to just one person, we will be so happy forever. That's what you say, isn't it, Dave? No, it's not what he says, but that's how it feels. I think
he says have fun saying poor, doesn't he? Just be honest. That's it,
isn't it? We tried.
We tried.
The good thing is, whether Bitcoin hyperinization starts freaking next week or in 10 years, now we can honestly, when people come to us and go, you didn't tell us about Bitcoin, no one can say that now. Our closest friends and family, we brought them the book and took them to a whole Bitcoin themed day and told them and I even said, we can go on to the speeches, but I mentioned obviously Bitcoin in there a couple of times, but it wasn't a big preachy thing. I didn't tell anyone to buy Bitcoin. All I did was go, please, if you really want to give us a gift back for the gift we've given you, spend a couple of hours reading that book that we've given you. And that was it. It's like the gift of knowledge, as opposed to, because that's a thing I was going to say, is the £20 that I spent on the Bitcoin standard. The other thing I was going to do was make it a Bitcoin day where I give everyone £20 of Bitcoin. So however many sats £20 is on the day, give them that. But that just
it's just going to sit there, isn't it? You don't get it.
It's the cart before the horse. They don't understand it. It's going to, if number one, I'm going to be doing IT support for my entire wedding.
Oh my God, imagine my family.
They're going to be, because I looked into the solutions for it. You can get little laptops, QR codes, that scans it, auto sends the sats. But I know people are going to mess even an automated process up. And then the problem is, in a year's time or 2 years' time, people change their phones, they forget what apps are on them. That Bitcoin's just going to get lost. And you go, well, that's just a complete waste of money.
I bet if Bitcoin 10x, they wouldn't have lost it. But
they probably would. They would 10x, they would try and find it.
And it'd be,
and they would have lost it or something, because they wouldn't know how to secure it. There's so much education you have to do before.
I just think you have to kind of earn that as well, by...
I've got a couple of things, though, because I experienced major anxiety and fear during the wedding, talking about the book, right?
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah, because my book disappeared. And my book disappeared because our friend, Dr. Evil 10%, took the time to put it in my room. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
And you panicked thinking it was
I was
Mum.
panicked. I was panicked
That's
because
so nice.
obviously it was, handwritten. I was just like, where is it? It's not on our table. Where's it gone? And I saw him walk off, but I saw him walk off with only what I saw was one book. So I was just like, oh, he's just gone to his room and he's just putting his book back. I never thought that he'd also have done the favor for me too. And so yeah, that when I got back to my accommodation, so he came back and he said, oh, don't worry, it's in the room. And then I got to the room, drunk, and and there it was on the pillow, and I was thinking, yeah,
let's start.
All is well with the world.
Nice.
All the things you've been talking about as well, despite the fact that there's an accumulation of things with the socks, the vows, obviously the speeches, the books. I don't know if I'm just too hardened, but I think it was a bit too subtle.
Weirdly, that is what we were going for, because I did not want it to be like the overwhelming message was Bitcoin. The overwhelming message needs to be like our dream was like the perfect kind of white wedding, very traditional, in a garden, nice vows, the classics, all the like the classic things are all in there, but just underneath little hints of
these subliminal messages.
Yeah, and obviously you don't want it to sound like a shilling thing or anything too much either, because that obviously turns people off.
Yeah.
So that's why I think like that when you go through the things, I'm not even sure many of them stood out. Obviously, the Bitcoin standard being on everyone's table, that's kind of in your face. Fine.
Yeah.
But it's a nice gift, and it's a talking point, and it's an opportunity to write a thank you note to everyone anyway for thank you for coming, and you can share like any anecdotes that you've had over the years or whatever inside that message. So yes, that's good. I'm glad that you felt like it was almost too subtle, because that's kind of what we're going for. And obviously you're going to be picking up on everything because you're a Bitcoin maxi.
Yeah.
Whereas someone that isn't would have missed most of this. Really, they'd have missed some of the subtleties. And that's good, because we wanted most people just to take away, that was a nice wedding.
Yeah.
I got this book and I'm meant to read it. And maybe they'll read it, and then as they read it, they'll probably like go ding, 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 ding. Oh my God, all these other things happened, but they didn't notice it at the time.
So it also reminds me of one of my favorite comedians, Kevin Hart, and his mum said to him, "You've got 1 year in order to make it as a comedian, otherwise you're going back to school." And he was doing it. I think he was living in New York at the time, from Philadelphia. And he said, look, obviously I've got no money. I'm just gigging once a week and making up these new jokes. I kind of need money. And she said, read your Bible. That God will show you the way. And he's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then he just kept on thinking, she just kept on repeating that to him. Anyway, what he didn't realize is that she put a check in the Bible to help him through the entire year. And so perhaps on the last page, maybe putting the £20 or some Bitcoin in the very last page could have been a way to say, okay, you did read the book.
Oh man, I wish I had that anecdote, before, because I would have done something like that,
That's how
I'd have put like a secret word or something.
Yeah.
And just gone.
Or in the middle, not even at the end. Yeah.
Just text me this word and you get some Bitcoin. But Correct. Only this word. It has to be this word on its own or something. Just so it's like basically and each word would be different in every book. So if someone can go,
just my mates would be sharing it around.
Just text in banana and you get your 20 quid. Like no. Yeah, they're different in every book.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah, that would have been great.
Yeah,
that would have been good.
But these are all, again, I think that you could kind of formulate a whole Bitcoin wedding blueprint and a plan because again, the normies aren't necessarily going to tune in to watch this, and the secret isn't necessarily out. Yes, we had record views last week, but but I think there's so many more people that need to learn and understand. And again, we know that there were some people at the wedding that could well do with just bringing it back. And I always think about this. I think there's the article something yuppies, like the Bitcoin for yuppies or something, and why, and or the elite, and why they don't necessarily get it, because they think, well, if we're not already on it, then it's probably worthless. Well, there's always something for everyone to learn, and that hopefully may open some eyes.
Yeah, it's one of those where it reminds me of what was about a year ago when I did that Bitcoin speech to a load of business people.
Yes.
And it largely went down horrendously badly. And you just go, this room just aren't ready. And, I've got 10 minutes up here. They're already drunk. I'm the after dinner speaker. They just aren't up for anything new, and they rejected it pretty much out of hand. And there's the odd person that came to speak to me, but the majority of people just did not give a shit, right? But then I didn't want that to happen at this one. And the reception is obviously going to be infinitely better because I know everyone, and the people I didn't know that well, obviously, you did. And it's one of them where it's just, how do you make the impact, right? So it was, don't preach to them, ask them to read this. And that was it, really. And
I think you would have gone, to be fair, I think you would have gone way further though.
If you hadn't reined me in.
Yeah. I think I did rein you in a little. And I think now looking back, we could have gone a bit further and I would have been comfortable, but I was.
No, I think we went perfect.
Yeah,
I think it went. I think it went perfect. But maybe maybe looking back in hindsight, great thing that you can always have a second wedding together. Yeah. Let me put that in. But ultimately, just putting in the memes or subliminal messages like "have fun staying poor" or Bitcoin cartoon and the comics, they're always great, aren't they? Because they're so simplistic, and when you read it, you're like, oh gosh, that makes sense. I'm so dumb, like with these little characters, or plushies, the Bitcoin plushies, and all of those little things. There's loads you could do, but yeah.
So what else did we do? So just on the topic of the Bitcoin standard, essentially, I'm not sure if you noticed, but everything was themed Bitcoin standard. So from our welcome sign to the table plan to the menus.
Yeah.
So obviously the place names, which you noticed on the back, it's got the Bitcoin standard bookmark. So we wanted people to take those away with them.
In the same way,
so you got your name on it. You obviously got the fact that it's our wedding, and then on the back it says Bitcoin standard bookmark. Because I often take my place name for weddings anyway as a bit of a souvenir. I instantly lose it, but this was a case of, well, there's a reason not to lose this one, because put it in your Bitcoin standard book, and and keep your place. So did you notice all that theming of everything? Because the good thing is the Bitcoin standard book is a great wedding theme anyway, because it's a white book, black text with some orange in it. So you go, that's orange actually quite a tasteful thing. So you just do white with black text at the top, orange in the middle, and black at the bottom. And obviously it doesn't say the Bitcoin standard like the book. It can say whatever you want. So whatever you're doing, whether it's a table plan, a welcome sign, a menu, the place names, whatever, you just do it in that format, and it ties everything together. And look, we didn't actually plan that until I just fired up the design for all that stuff and realized it was quite easy to do. We
saw an orange, we were like, nice.
Yeah,
that was one of the things where I thought maybe it was too far, and I thought it was going to be
on a good day. I was like, yeah, just do it.
And then you said, yeah, and
if you're up for designing it all, just make it your color. That's fine.
I quickly ordered it before you changed your mind.
No, but again, and I'm not just saying this because it's you too, but it's really good and nice to hear that it was a joint plan as well, because normally it's I'll just let her sort it out and I paid for it. It's both your days, it's your wedding, and together you were thinking about it, and I think it came across really well, and the theme in terms of like the text, it just went really well with the venue anyway. It looked fresh, it looked nice, it looked clean. It's great. I love that.
No, awesome. And the final thing we've got is obviously the first dance. So we left Bitcoin out the first dance, But very quickly after, we won't even talk about the first dance and how badly, especially
Oh,
so when lights are never look on here,
oh
freaking
God.
the dancing guru.
No.
Like I should have just switched
No.
out for the never look. So
We practiced that so many times. Never did he pull me over quite like that. But we'll move on to the second half of the
Yeah.
first dance.
Which is obviously when we wanted everyone to join us, and it's got to be you gotta
got
pump
to
it
pump
up,
it up.
don't you know?
Yeah,
Pump
yeah.
it up. And again, it's just it was just I've never heard that song actually out and about, actually played over proper DJ speakers and just seeing it, and then just seeing all my friends and family,
everyone come in,
bouncing
and
about,
just
going, "You
bounce."
got to pump it up." It's like,
Yeah,
this is it. This is it.
Yeah,
And
insane.
then hardly anyone knew why they were singing "Pump It Up," but we did.
And it's such an easy song, isn't it? Yeah, everybody just learned the lyrics straight away and was so into it, and they probably
It
never
just
even
again went beautiful, because again it could be a great second song, couldn't it? Like into the wedding, and you are pumping it up, you're geeing it up. Let's get ready. Let's have a good night and a dance, and yeah, went really well.
Yeah, and then so yeah, that is our
That was it.
Bitcoin wedding.
Yeah. If you could do it again, what would you do differently?
I wouldn't fuck up the first dance.
Yeah.
I actually know I would still fuck it
You
up.
But that came out in the speech as well about your dancing.
I know,
so that
so
was great.
They jinxed him. Yeah, I know, because you aren't
Yeah.
that bad.
Weirdly, it was in my head because I know I'm
What
not.
did Adam say? You have the legs of a jellyfish,
I mean, the legs of a horse and like
body of like a Lego man or something.
Yeah,
it was accurate. It was weirdly accurate.
it was
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, it was bad.
One to
then,
watch
yeah,
back
just-
on the
it's got-
video.
What's that?
One to watch back on the video for the
Yeah.
speeches.
See what that insult was, yeah. But yeah, I think he did get in my head a bit. And then the problem is that I knew, like, I can't remember stuff like that anyway. I'm really bad at remembering like physical moves. And I just knew that after that day, because by the time you get to the dance, you go, so much of the stress is gone now. Like so much of the day is done, and it's like it's gone well. But then obviously it's 8 o'clock at night. You start at 8 o'clock in the morning. You're pretty hammered by then.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no chance.
So
I
funny
remember
you
these
say
moves.
that as well. I can't remember physical moves, and then what your brother said about the Bitcoin bride must have had to put a shift in.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, well, on the freaking conception of our baby,
yeah.
just thinks I'm just lying there like a fish or something. I can't even like move my hips. I'm like, I'm not that bad.
How does he know?
Does he know? Yeah. It doesn't bode well for the Bitcoin bride on that front. But luckily, we've got we've got an exhibit A in baby. So yeah.
Nah, but in reality, I don't think we change anything. It's just that was the day, right? There's a couple of things that didn't go perfect, but you go, but that's our day. And
Yeah,
the good thing was, it's like
it really was.
Yeah, the thing is that there's nothing big went wrong. There was a couple of like people there that could have got ill or potentially could have argued with someone else in a different family or a different friendship group. And they're the things that you just go, please don't let anything like that happen, because that's totally out of our control and can just destroy an evening or destroy a day, can't it? If there's ambulances turning up or there's freaking glasses getting thrown, like who knows? Like what's or one of our parents got ill.
It sounds as if we were anticipating our guests throwing glasses. Like that didn't really cross our mind. That's like one of the worst things that could happen. For me, the thing I would definitely change would just be how worried and anxious I was in the run-up of, like I say, the little things that might go wrong, because it did bring out a side to me that I was like, yeah, this is not fun. This is not necessarily fun wedding planning at this point, because it like comes to, and it was just so fun on the day. So if I could go back, I just wouldn't be worried. But people literally gave me that advice, and I was like, you're so wrong. So yeah, that's what I would change. But it was perfect. I loved it. I loved my debut. I love now that I am taking the place of all the others. I'm not gonna dox anyone. You called me Vic about 10 times. Well, that me, yeah, cool. Fine. I don't mind. But yeah, it's okay. Hi everyone. But yeah, Lovely to see you, Sir Never Look.
Thank you
And
very much.
I will let you go so you can talk about other bits and bobs.
This is it.
Is that it now?
Oh no, this is it.
Alright.
This is it. This is how we're wrapping up pod
Oh, cool.
110.
I shouldn't have really done the awkward. Shall I go then or not?
No,
we
you
have,
stay,
we
you
have-
stay,
we
you
have-
stay where you
we
are.
have
This
to
is-
never look that does the wrap up.
This
I
is
didn't-
your.
I didn't- not me.
You're already stealing Dr. Evil 10%
Yes.
job, Mrs. No Show
Look.
job. Now you're stealing Sir Never Look's job.
It's not like a. It's not like a woman
Right,
to come
yeah,
in
it's
and
just going to
take
be a
over, is it?
Do you
one-woman
think Gareth,
podcast.
do you feel like Gareth's a bit threatened by me? Because stay.
It's gonna be a
Well,
one-
it's gonna
it's a
edit. It's
one
gonna
day.
edit everything out that you've ever said, and you'll just be a face, and we've dubbed over it. Yeah.
That's funny.
But no, you've done an amazing job, Bitcoin Bride, for your first pod, and this pod has been 110, and it's been brought to you by Mr. All In, aka the $1 Trillion Man, the Bitcoin Bride, aka Mrs. All In, myself, Sir Never Look, aka the Excellence of Execution, and this week we haven't had Dr. Evil 10%, aka the People's Champ, and Mrs. No Show. Still, no show.
Does she exist?
But she does exist, indeed. Right, well, have fun, newlyweds, and I will speak to you soon, as always. Peace.